Hey everyone, happy Wednesday and welcome to another episode of Quotes to Live By. And this week I wanted to talk about a quote that I picked out of a book that I recently am rereading, actually. It's called The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. I definitely recommend this book to anyone. It's something that I think I'll constantly reread throughout the rest of my life. But anyway, I picked this quote from a chapter that he titled The Inner Roommate. And we'll talk a little bit more about who the inner roommate is after I share this quote with you. But the quote goes, "Worldly doesn't mean that you have money or stature. Worldly means that you think the solution to your inner problems is in the world outside. You think if you can change the outside, you'll be okay. But nobody has ever truly become okay by changing things outside. There's always the next problem. The only real solution is to take the seat of witness consciousness and completely change your frame of reference." And I think this is a really important quote to touch base on. And it's part of this conversation where he's calling this your inner roommate. And your inner roommate is the thoughts in your head. It's your psyche. It's that voice that talks to you constantly throughout the day. It's the thing that you have arguments with yourself about in your head internally. It's that constant chatter that you hear. And some people have found ways over the years in life to make that noise be a little bit quieter and to control that. And other people maybe haven't really worked at it, maybe aren't aware that we really can control that inner voice, that inner dialogue that we hear, or have a little bit more of a difficult time shutting that off. And I hear it from a lot of people, especially at nighttime before they go to bed. It's like my thoughts are racing. I can't stop thinking about things. And it's creating more anxiety and more stress in your life and more worry. And I wanted to share this quote because I think he really hits the nail on the head where he says, "You think that the solution to your inner problems is in the world outside. You think if you can change the outside, you'll be okay, but nobody has ever truly become okay by changing things outside." And I think that that's a problem that we all struggle with because we see all these things come up in our lives and the outside world, and they're real problems that we have to deal with. And we get stressed out by them. We have anxiety about them, and we think we have to fix all these physical things in our lives. And that once we fix these physical things in the outside world, or if we, try to fix this person or fix this problem here, it's not going to happen again. And the reality is a lot of times it's how we perceive certain things. And I know that is very difficult to hear. But if you've ever found yourself with the same types of problems repeating, it may not be the same exact thing, but it could be a similar thing that you find yourself like, oh, I'm constantly dealing with this thing, or I'm constantly having this problem. That's what he's saying. That next problem is always going to be there until you deal with the real issue, and that's inside your mind. That's that inner voice, that conflict, that thing that's constantly controlling your life and your mind and telling you what to do. So the real freedom is to be able to control our inner thoughts and to observe them and question them instead of just initially reacting and thinking we can fix something on the outside. So a lot of our problems come because we make things a bigger deal than they really are. And it's because this inner dialogue that we all have to deal with, just keeps talking to us and telling us this or that. And half the time it's so neurotic. It says one thing and then it changes its mind to the other. And you find yourself battling in your head with these conversations. So one of the things that he talks about in the book, and like I said, I totally recommend this read for a number of reasons, but it's taking a step back. And this is something that's a lifelong thing that we all have to practice. It's not an overnight thing. It's something that we all work on. But once we start working on it, we'll have better control over our thoughts and our anxiety and our stress. We have to take a step back and realize that those problems are happening in the outside world, but we can change the way we perceive them, and we can take a step back, be aware that these things are causing us to be jealous or causing us to be angry or causing us to be sad or depressed or whatever it is. but we don't have to necessarily initially like fix things in the outside. It's controlling our emotions and observing them happening, asking ourselves why we're feeling that way, and kind of reflecting as to what's causing us to feel this way so that we can make a better decision instead of that initial reaction of being super stressed or super anxious about those things. So as soon as we can try to control that inner dialogue a little bit more. And there's so many things about just meditating or trying, like I said, to question before you react in your head about why you're feeling certain things instead of just lashing out and reacting or trying to fix it first. That's one way. And being aware of those thoughts that they are constantly going. And then the other way a lot of people use is journaling at night before bed, writing out your thoughts, having a rational conversation and thought process on paper rather than just letting them play out and battle with each other inside your mind. So the true freedom from problems, stress, and anxiety, obviously, as it says in, this quote and stuff, and I've talked about a little bit before, it's a battle. And it's in our minds. So it's a work. It's something that we have to constantly train ourselves to be aware of and do. And it's something that we all have to do throughout our lives. It's a work in progress. So I just wanted to share this. I thought it was important. It's something for everyone to be aware of so that we don't let our neurotic thoughts and conversations in our head control our lives too much. And it's a step to try to be aware of that and take control of that whole thought process. So hopefully this was a little bit of a helpful tip for anyone that's struggling with that, struggling with maybe restlessness at night, things like that, to just be a little bit more aware, and use a couple of those tools of asking why and journaling or something like that to try to help the whole process. So thank you as always for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you again next week with another episode. Bye everyone. Take care.